I swear by my mother's grave and the gods who see all truth, I will return. Every stone thrown, every lie told, every betrayal, I will repay sevenfold. You wanted a witch, Amuna. Now you have one. The village of Amuna was nestled between rolling hills and dense forests in southeastern Nigeria, where the morning mist clung to the earth like ancestral spirits reluctant to leave. It was a place where tradition ran deeper than the roots of the ancient Iroko tree in the village square, and where a woman's worth was measured by the sons she bore and the silence she kept. Adaeze was never good at silence. She had returned to Amuna 5 years ago, a widow at 28, carrying nothing but a battered suitcase and her 6-year-old daughter, Kyoma. Her husband had died in a car accident in Lagos, leaving her with debts she couldn't pay and in-laws who wanted nothing to do with a childless woman, for in their eyes, a daughter was as good as childless. The village had welcomed her back with tight smiles and tighter judgments. Her mother was dead, her father had disowned her for marrying outside the village, and her only brother, Ikenna, had made it clear that his wife's jealousy left no room for his sister under his roof. So Adaeze had taken up residence in her late mother's abandoned hut on the village's edge, patching the leaking roof with her own hands and farming a small plot of land that the elders had graciously allowed her to use. But Adaeze had something that made the village uncomfortable. She was educated. She could read and write, had worked as a teacher in Lagos, and worst of all, she had opinions. She spoke at village meetings when women were expected to serve palm wine in silence. She questioned why the community's funds were always controlled by Chief Okonkwo and his council of elders. She dared to suggest that girls should be sent to school as readily as boys. The village tolerated her because she was useful. When children needed help with their lessons, they came to Adaeze. When someone needed a letter written or read, they sought her out. But tolerance is a thin thread, and it only takes one sharp pull to snap it. That pull came on a humid October evening, when Chief Okonkwo's prized goats went missing. Adaeze knew nothing about it until the morning the chief's men dragged her from her hut, her daughter screaming behind her. The entire village gathered in the square as Chief Okonkwo, a mountain of a man with tribal marks carved deep into his cheeks, pointed an accusing finger at her. "Witch," he bellowed. "You have stolen my goats and used them for your dark sacrifices." Adaeze's protest died in her throat as she saw the crowd's faces. Old women she had helped with their arthritis remedies looked away. Mothers whose children she had taught spat at the ground. Her own brother stood among them, his face carefully blank. "I have stolen nothing," she said, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her veins. "Search my home. You will find nothing." They did search, with a violence that left her few possessions scattered and broken. And there, buried beneath the floor of her hut where anyone could have placed them, they found bones. Goat bones, arranged in patterns that even Adaeze knew looked damning. "I was framed," she cried, but her words were swallowed by the crowd's angry roar. The trial, if it could be called that, lasted less than an hour. Chief Okonkwo declared her guilty. The village elders nodded their agreement. The punishment was exile and public disgrace. She would be stripped of her small plot of land, her mother's hut would be burned, and she would be driven from Amuna with nothing but the clothes on her back. But exile wasn't enough for some. As Adaeze was forced through the village to the forest's edge, rocks began to fly. She tried to shield herself, tried to stay standing, but the blows kept coming. Through the chaos, she saw her daughter being held back by her brother's wife, Kyoma's small arms reaching desperately for her mother. "Take care of her." Adaeze screamed to Ikenna. "She's your blood. Promise me." Ikenna turned away. A particularly large stone struck Adaeze's temple, and the world tilted. She fell to the red earth, her blood mixing with the soil of the land that had rejected her. As darkness crept into her vision, she saw Chief Okonkwo watching with satisfaction, his arms crossed over his broad chest. With her last breath, Adaeze spoke words that made even the boldest among them step back. "I swear by my mother's grave and the gods who see all truth, I will return. I will show this village what real darkness looks like. Every stone thrown, every lie told, every betrayal, I will repay sevenfold. You wanted a witch, Amuna. Now you have one." The light left her eyes as thunder cracked across a cloudless sky. They buried her quickly, without ceremony, in the forest beyond the village boundary. No prayers were said, no offerings made. Within a week, it was as if Adaeze had never existed. Her daughter Kyoma was given to a distant aunt in another village, and her name became something spoken only in whispers, if at all. Chief Okonkwo reclaimed his position of absolute authority. The village returned to its rhythms of planting and harvest, of births and marriages, of secrets kept and traditions maintained. But 3 months after Adaeze's death, on a night when the moon hung blood-red in the sky, the first scream split the darkness. Chief Okonkwo's eldest son was found in his bed, his eyes wide open in terror, his heart stopped. The village doctor could find no cause of death, but those who prepared his body for burial whispered about the marks on his chest, scratches that looked disturbingly like a woman's fingernails. And in the morning, every goat in Chief Okonkwo's compound was found lifeless, their throats ripped, arranged in a pattern around a message written in their blood. "I told you I would return." The curse of Adaeze had begun.